Hey there, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us for Cougar Cinema. As always, I'm Andrew Tabbitt.
And I'm Darold III.
All right, so this week we're going to be talking about something that's a little different. We're not talking about the movies this week. We're talking about the small screen, or the smaller screen even, with Netflix's original series Iron Fist. So if you haven't watched that to completion, definitely give that a shot. We're going to recommend it off the bat, right? If you've watched the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, maybe, it's worth it to watch it, right?
Let's just say it this way. If you didn't get into the Marvel Netflix shows, this isn't going to convince you. I'm going to say that right now. If you weren't into something like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, or Daredevil, it's not going to convince you. But if you watch all those, you definitely should watch Iron Fist, especially if you're excited for Defenders. I'll say off the bat right now, to me, I think it's the weakest of the shows, but there is still enough to make it worth watching. Especially if you're in it for the long haul and want the full satisfaction of watching the Defenders that comes out. So if you're not on the train already, you're not going to want to board after watching Iron Fist. If you're already on the train, definitely check it out.
If you're 5 or 6 episodes into Iron Fist right now, go ahead and save this video for later. Finish that out because we're going to be talking about spoilers in this.
Okay.
So getting into the series, we just want to start out with our lead, Danny Rand, the billionaire's son, lost for 15 years, thought to be dead, comes out of the blue and wants to take back over his company. You know, the first thing I thought of when I saw that was Batman Begins.
Oh, yeah. To me, I was actually going to say something like that. When I saw it, I basically thought it was like basically combine the riches of Batman with the martial arts skills of Bruce Lee. Okay. And kind of put it there.
Yeah.
Except a little more bland. But we'll get into that in a second.
So we can get into that. We can get into that now, though. So, you have Danny Rand, who's this character who has seen his parents killed, was trained by these monks for 15 years, and then comes back to New York City to take over his company and everything. And as a character, he's less than entirely compelling, I think. Yeah,
and I don't really think it's to the fault of who's the actor who plays him again? You know his name. Who plays Danny Rand?
You just looked it up. I thought you just looked it up. You got your laptop so you could look up the actors.
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to.
I was the one setting up the audio in the set and the video. You didn't look it up?
Do you want to hit cut right now and just look it up?
You have a phone right there.
Finn Jones. That was it. Finn Jones. I remember now because he told
Jones. Oh, the actor is Finn Jones.
Yeah.
Darold. It's Finn Jones' Iron Fist. I'm editing this, so it looks like I'm the smart one.
Oh, hell no. No, I will just leave the biggest comment just saying this is editing
I can disable
magic.
Comments.
I'm done. Goodbye, everybody. That was CougCast. But Finn Jones, he was on Game of Thrones. I think that's where a lot of people got to know him there. Oh. Yes, he was the brother of Marjorie. He was the brother of Marjorie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually totally forgot about that.
Yeah, so he was on there for a bit, and he has the acting chops. And going back to what I was trying to say before is, I don't think, yes, Danny Rand isn't really that much compelling of a character. I don't think that's due to the fault of the actor, because he is a good actor. He struggles a bit in the show when it comes to his acting chops, but I don't really think it's because of him. I think it's because that the show doesn't really know what direction it wants to go. It doesn't really know what tone it wants to go for. And heck, this actually got delayed. Originally, I think it was supposed to be this show then Luke Cage, but they swapped around a bit because they had trouble formatting the comics to the show. Mm-hmm. So I think because of that, it was hard for them to really figure out what direction they wanted to take Danny Rand. So I agree with you there. I don't really think it's the fault of the actor though. I think it's the fault of the writing and not having a clear vision.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of times with Danny where his writing was just a little bit dry and like, I am the Iron Fist, I have to do this, mopey mope mope. Like, Pretty it could much. Be stronger, and I think a lot of characters did get some of that stronger writing to a certain degree. I know one of the characters that everyone kind of walked away liking from what I've heard was Claire.
Yeah, well, and Claire is a mainstay at this point. If you watch any of the other Marvel shows, you know, and this is spoilers, so we can just say everything. So yeah, Claire's in the show, and she plays a significant supporting role in this. And that breaks into the strengths of the show has. Some of the supporting characters are really good. Mm-hmm. Most of them, though, are like reoccurring characters. The two big ones are Claire and Madame Gao.
Yeah.
Which I'll say, Madame Gal is probably she was one of my favorite characters.
This is her best
show.
season. Yeah, this is her best show. Just the stuff that she got to do in this, and
we learned so much more about her, but there's still just enough to where there's that mystery. You know enough more to be more intimidated by her and fascinated, but you don't know too much. It's still there's still that mystery with her. You feel like she's always one step ahead, but at the same time, there are some times where I was kind of like, dude, listen to her. Like she almost she's not just a clear-cut evil villain. She seems very much three-dimensional. And there's just a sense of history behind her. I think she even hints at, she says something like, I've been tortured many times before. She hints of, I think because we have seen that the hand is able to come back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was some sort of reincarnation thing. I think she's been around for maybe even over 100 or maybe hundreds of years.
She drops that she was alive in the 1700s.
Yeah, so she's been alive for centuries. So it's just, I love her so much. I also love how they introduce her. When she just stabs some dude through the throat,
You failed.
Yeah, you failed. And I really like her. I like Claire. And
Colleen,
yes.
I think she was the biggest winner of the whole thing, I think, just as a new character, one of the best new characters coming into this, where she had very strong character development. You could see her transitioning. You could see her being challenged and grow as a character, and she was really, really relatable in a lot of parts, too.
True, and I will say that the first episode, it's not a good first impression, especially for Colleen, because I feel like the first episode is probably the worst out of the season, just because when I first saw it, maybe it was just me, but it felt like not everybody was on their game. A lot of the acting was weak. The writing felt like it was written by people in middle school. Like when Danny Rand's like, you kicked me in the balls when I was a kid. And he's in the car with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was just a really bad first impression. And especially for Colleen, where I was like, oh God, she's not the best actress. But then when you get beyond that, is where she really, I feel like that's just not the best episode.
I don't know.
Because now I really think she's fantastic. She just has so much development, so much history behind her. Plus, I'm really glad that they didn't play the trope that I thought they were going to do where, oh, hey, the main character ends up with somebody, they like each other, and then something happens to where they break up. Because I feel like that's what they do with a lot of superhero shows.
Yeah.
And I actually we're actually seeing a relationship progress, and it seems like we might see her more in Defenders, which I want to see more of Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn more about her. So yeah, I think that was one of the strongest things for me. Plus Ward.
Yeah.
So at first I thought I was going to hate Ward.
Mm-hmm.
He first seems like the generic, big old, I'm big business, I want money.
Yeah.
But then when you get bored to his daddy issues.
His daddy issues, his drug issues, his just life in his hell issues.
He's also redeemable because he also has a big love for his sister. Genuinely cares about her and genuinely wants to be happy and actually have control over his life for once. And so the more episodes he was in, the more I actually got into his character.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big surprise for me because I thought I was just going to be done with him after the first episode.
No, he definitely is one that grows on you, and you're not sure how much you like him or don't a lot of the time because he does play a really dark, at times twisted, challenged person. And so there are times when you think he's just this villainous antagonist for Danny to bump up against, or then you wonder if his dad's really the antagonist, then is the hand really... It makes you question who the real villain is. And it's really... I appreciate that about the show. It's not entirely black and white ever, and you can see multiple people getting played from multiple sides, and I really enjoyed that, frankly.
True. And that brings me back to some of the flaws, which I really think is the writing, is also the action a bit. The action's hit and miss for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. What do you think of the action, actually?
I thought definitely, you could see all the hallmarks of the Marvel Netflix shows if you've been watching them. They had hallway fight scenes. They had really creative, elevator fight scenes. They had they had truck fight scenes. They had really, really creative fight scenes, I thought, in this one. And a lot of the set pieces were really good. But there were times when it felt a little bit over the top. The wire work was a little bit, okay, this is an old, 90s Bruce Lee movie or something, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it was a stylistic choice that didn't necessarily fit the tone of the whole show, I thought. And so, overall, I did really like the fight scenes, the action, but it just, it definitely wasn't quite up to par with, I think, a lot of the other stuff. But I guess that can feed us into general final thoughts and kind of your rating of the show. So do you want to take it first, or do you want me to go?
You can go. You can go.
So, I mean, in terms of the show, I did really enjoy it. The corporate stuff wasn't as great as some of the other stuff, but I was actually bought in. I enjoyed some of the drama to do with the company and everything. I enjoyed Ward's character and the family relationship, but not really family that they were dealing with. But at the same time, when you compare it with the other Marvel Netflix shows, it's not quite as good. So it's like the vanilla at your favorite ice cream shop. It's not the best flavor they have there. You know there are better things, but you just kind of, you're there and you're happy you're there anyway. I mean, you have your favorite flavor that's this weird extravagant mix of a dozen different flavors. And then there's vanilla, which is like, you know what? It's there, it's fine, but you're not going to write home to mom about it.
I think that's a good summary of the show. My final thoughts is, I know it really seems like I'm just digging into the show a bunch, but I think that's just because I was disappointed, but it's not a bad show by any means. And I definitely see potential for a second season. And there are moments of the show where I really got into it, and there are a lot of characters I like. But my final thoughts in the sense of, I do think there's a lot of potential in the show, but I think it struggles from a lack of vision, from a lack of focus, from not really knowing what they want to do with the character, what tone they want to go for. If they fix that next season, I think it's going to be really good. But I guess my rating would be something like, it's black coffee. It's okay. It'll get the job done, but like you said, you're not going to write home about it. And it's just disappointing when you see all the fancy blends that Marvel has given us lately with the Netflix shows and just the cinematic universe in general. So
is Deadpool like a vanilla latte and like
Deadpool is an AMF. 100%.
I'm sorry. Daredevil's like a vanilla latte. You have Jessica Jones is your caramel macchiato.
Oh yeah, Luke Cage is like a Mexican mocha.
Why is he a Mexican mocha?
Just because it's a little like, I feel like it's quirky. It's a little spicy. It gets to get punched to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this week, guys. We will be back next Wednesday at our usual time, reviewing whatever is new, whatever you guys want to see. If you post in the comments below something coming out you would like to see us review, we'll look into that. We'll see if we can get it out there. And go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Rocky ain't real, son.
Next, you're going to tell me Santa isn't real.
He's going to have a long day.
Next, you're going to tell me God isn't real.
No, he's good.
Oh. That's the one thing I don't believe in. Welcome, everybody, to... Oh, you're introducing. This is your show.
Are we live now? Do you want to do it that way? Is that our intro?
Yeah.
That can be God Isn't Real.
God.
Darold Lee Bivens III.
I'm okay with that. Remember, everybody.
But Santa is.
Santa is real. God isn't.
I don't know if I can endorse this.